By the spring of 1155, the nobility of the kingdoms of Calradia had failed to put down the revolting peasants. Indeed, on the contrary, now the scene of battle was repeated over and over again as the imperial forces in the best plate armor with knights of the high order tried repeatedly to put down rebelling towns and their militias. Only each assault of the kingdom was met with an even more ferocious counterattack and brutal battle as thousands of peasants fought for their lives, their land, and their families. At one village after another, the rebels were outmatched and outgunned, but they organized into tactical divisions and ambushed the attacking nobility, each time sending the imperial forces running to their local castles. Special councils were planned all across Calradia as the Empire of the Three Kingdoms tried to come up with a plan to defeat the Great Peasant Revolt of 1154. Alright friends, welcome back again to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. Our YouTube channel is dedicated to all things Bannerlord, especially field command and advanced tactics, and this Peasant Revolt series continues here. We have this trio of possessions here, Amitatis, Saneopa, and Vargos Castle, and we're looking to expand here. So I'm trying to swing now a big counterclockwise loop around. We're going to try to siege down Rotai here before we lose Saneopa. And we're hoping to do that based on a combination of speed, obviously a successful siege there, and then the fact that we put a significant garrison at Saneopa. As you can see, we still have our very weak militia army here. I counted it up this time, we do have about 120 tier 4 units and another 100 tier 3 units. But as before, we've got a bunch of nobles following us and no tier 5 or 6 units. So predictably, that army we saw headed up to Vargos Castle, so now both of our other possessions are under siege. In fact, I won't be surprised if Amitatis is under siege, maybe even before we get to Rotai here. I don't know how you pronounce it, Rotai, something like that. They got these Caesar spellings with the E before the A and whatnot. I'm not a linguist. I took one bad semester of Latin in high school, and so I'm going to butcher the names of these things because I'm an American, and we, as a society, seem to hold almost a disdain for other languages and their pronunciations. And I say that in wry humor. I find it amusing and kind of sad that it's Los Angeles instead of Los Angeles, but it is what it is. All right, so Rotai here has a decent defense, but there's no noble units inside, and so we're going to give this a shot here. We've got some prisoners to recruit. I've got all these upgrades available here, but I'm not gonna do this right. I'm definitely not going to be upgrading units to tier 5. We're going to do the very best we can with our 834 low-level units, and that, of course, is the theme and the idea of this entire campaign. So we're going to do a turbo siege here. There's decent troops inside this citadel, but not incredibly strong. What's this? This is interesting. Sturgia wants to pay us 2,000 for peace. You know what? Earlier I was saying we're not going to have peace with anybody, but Sturgia is my kingdom of origin here. I think to have an ounce of hope that we might, have a quasi-ally in this fight, we're going to have peace here with Sturgia. It looks like they're going to pay us a king's ransom out of principle. If they wanted us to pay them, I would have told them to eat shit. But if they want to give us a bunch of gold and get off our back for a little while in this peasants' revolt, we will pretend like Sturgeons are experiencing a peasants' revolt of themselves. A little bit of role-playing here, and we will say that they're sort of quasi on our side. All right, I'm going to pause it right here because they've got a ballista built and I've got a ram built, and that's going to be enough for us here. We're going to barrel in here. This means no siege towers, right? We are doing this blitzkrieg fashion, and I'm hoping we can force our way through one of the two vulnerable sides here at Rotai. Now, talk about a good keep for defense. This is wicked. This is optimal for how a keep should be built, right, with these different angles. I've got ladders on these two sides, but look at how vulnerable they are here to siege. They're vulnerable to archers. If I was building a keep, with Bannerlord, it would look something like this, right? I might have one more tower sticking way out, surrounded by water that was impassable, but that's nitpicking here. All right, so they're already bombarding us here. They have tons of siege built. We're going to storm, I think we'll storm this left side here. I've got archers and skirmishers. I don't have very many units in those divisions. I wish there were more, but that's what happens when you have 7 divisions. We do want to apply pressure at multiple points here, so we're going to get these ladders up in a hurry, and we're going to get this 2nd Infantry Division up there as fast as we possibly can. Those guys are told to charge. That'll have them starting immediately to climb the ladder. Right, I can see these guys hurrying in here, crowding in here to climb the ladders. The other side's going up too. Of course, the ram is going to take a long time to get to the door. But if we can apply pressure quickly on the 2 sides here, I think it'll strain the defenses and make it easier to get up there. Now I'm observing where they have their little fire catapults here, because just like how the enemy gets killed when you're defending a keep, you know, they will blow these troops up en masse. So it's a little bit risky with this keep orientation to have all our troops jumbled up like this, but bonsai, in we go here. It really does look like that we already have possession of this side. I see very light fighting up top here, and I don't see a lot of archers with the... Okay, they're starting to come now, but this is great. They're starting to... It looks like they're going to be coming around behind us here. We're going to attack this force here, gain a foothold on this wall, and storm as many guys up onto the wall here as possible. Yeah, their archers are coming up these ladders behind us, but these are mostly archers. Like, we welcome these archers to pour through here. Archers are going to have a rough time, obviously, against our troops. Hand to hand, right? These guys, they should be shooting from down in the courtyard. Instead, they're charging us. We like that. We're going to waylay these archers here. And again, as you've seen me before in keep sieges, it's not like a magical recipe. You want to keep these ladder wells open, right? You guys have all seen it, either climbing up a ladder or defending. If there's a bunch of enemy troops there, defending troops, right on those ladders, nobody can get up, right? You just get absolutely ground into the dirt by a bunch of guys smacking you in the face while you're trying to climb a ladder. All right, excellent. We're going to be able to commandeer this catapult. This dipshit, he jumped right on it right away. And now we're going to look for opportunities to blow people up with these bombs here. They're in a big mass down there. Oh, shit. Well, that doesn't happen very often, but it is part of the game. Zuvan got fucking blown up. He got drilled directly by a fucking 450-point damage mortar round. Hopefully he's not killed. Of course, our increased death with our mod might cause a death there. We shall see. I don't think the death rate's based on damage done. I think it's just a randomly increased element we have here. But we're going to continue on here. I have this Lytha. She's kind of the default general after Zuvan gets dropped. It must be just the order of sequence that they're in the party. We're going to get, I'm just going to pretend like we're rolling on here with command. She's got her high-pitched voice. We're going to be watching out for those bombs now, though. Those things are instant one-shot kill you. So she's got a bow. I've just told about 50 archers to get down on this side here, and we are going to skirmish, right? We are going to have infantry on the other side there, and we're going to do our very best to support them. This is kind of fun, actually. It's a little different role than I'm normally in with Zuvan, where he's running around with his axe. We're going to be doing a little bit of shooting in this episode. Anybody out there who's snickering at my bad shooting, I am not an archery expert, right? I've only been doing this here and there. Now Zuvan, I did play an archer with Zuvan, or not Zuvan, but his father, like a really long time ago. I'm not totally feeble at it, but this is not. Neither is one-handed fighting. These are not core skills for me. Oh, here comes Zuvan's wife. Gisil Child's gonna mow down some enemies here. We're experiencing a little bit of juddering again. I apologize for that. This is not my computer. I'm having some issues in some keeps. I don't know if you guys are experiencing it. Let me know if you are. It could just be... I got Rambo here defending me. It could just be a new patch where the AI got adjusted and it's having a hard time processing it. But I've had this more and more in keeps, and hopefully you're not throwing up or having a seizure watching this. You can feel free to fast forward ahead here. But this is a vital siege for us here. I'm going to continue playing it out. It seemed like it just got a little smoother right there. So we're going to play through with this. Right now, we're just essentially trying to take this side of the keep by force. And obviously the enemy's aware of that. And they're actually doing a pretty damn good job of defending. A combination of militia and elite units. There's like legionnaire mixed in with the militia here. and it's a pretty stout defense, right? I'm having a hard time cutting a hole here, and there's an awful lot of red death spam. I'm getting chased down now with guys with hammers. I've got some troops here, but I see enemy forces attacking us here too, right? So we're under assault for sure. This we'll call it the left side of the keep. We'll call it from our perspective. This left side of the keep is definitely being contested by the enemy here. No bombs up here, but we could shoot, right? This gal's got, I don't know, I think she's got like 160 or 180 bow skill. Should be able to shoot some guys in the throat, in the head. Oh shit, I'm getting drilled by somebody. And she should be able to help a little bit up here while I sort of observe things. Now, at this stage, there's no command that needs to be done, right? These dipshits down here in the valley, down here in the courtyard, are just sitting ducks. It's like they just realized it, too. They started to move. We'll try to get a few more shots here. But it's essential that we occupy, now that we've tried, now that we've started forcing units up this left side of the keep, it's essential that we occupy this keep over here, right? We want to get our forces to the ground as quickly as possible. We have a real shortage of manpower, and I assume that's because a lot of our units have been killed. It's been very bloody fighting. Of course, you know, we don't have high-level units, right? So there are going to be processes and times in this series where we take an absolute beating, even by mediocre enemy troops, which this is, right? They have enough troops that can kill our units, right? We don't have an army full of stacked units where we can just roll through here. So we're gonna be, you know, sort of slugging it out in some of these battles. It's gonna be very, very bloody. Shooting guys in the head here from our spot. We got an arrow barrel here. We can keep reloading and just sort of play sniper, right? We're just gonna be supporting our troops as best we can down there. You know, we'll probably have some friendly fire, but I'm sort of refreshing my skill here as an archer. And keep a look behind me every once in a while. You'll see me like turn around, and I'm basically just making sure no one's coming up that ladder attacking us. But I see no reason to leave this spot right now, right? Our forces are struggling down there, and I can stay here, command my units, and do a little bit of shooting, all from relative safety. I gotta watch out for enemies coming up behind me here, but this is just a perfect spot here to support my guys. Kind of fun, too. We're definitely losing this side of the keep. Here come reinforcements, but I see an awful lot of peasants, too, right? So this is turning into a real brawl, a real nasty slugfest to take Rotai here. Now, we can retreat, but that would be pretty devastating for our campaign. We really need to take this citadel. I'm gonna keep picking on these peasants down here. Someone's shooting at me. I see there's a crossbowman shooting. Fuck you. You gotta just kind of like juke. Oh shit. She got drilled right in the neck. Okay, well, we're on to our third hero here. This is Thalea. Now that we have some units on the wall, we're going to start setting up this second part of the process here. We're going to get infantry down there, cleave a path, and get as many of these archers set up in this courtyard as we possibly can. That's been my primary objective the whole time, and I think now with this group of infantry, we've got a better shot to do so. Get the fuck down here. We've got like 5 archers. Hurry up, fellas. Now, she's got some javelins. I can support our units here, but it really does look like the enemy is defensively prepared for this battle. Each time the AI is bringing up these big slugs of infantry, supported by archers, this is going to be very, very bloody. Now, the good thing is a lot of these guys are recruits and fucking militia and stuff like that. That's good because that's what a lot of our troops are too, right? We got militia, fucking veteran spearmen, and we don't have any legionnaire, that's for sure. So we're going to try to cut down their forces here. My archers, unfortunately, can't really get a good angle to shoot. I can have these guys be in a square, and then my archers will be able to shoot around the margins of this. But we don't really have a great line of sight here to shoot. I got to get more archers down here so that it becomes an overwhelming force. She's got like 390, or not 390, like 290 one-handed skill, so she's more than capable of fighting. I think she has no two-handed skill, though. She's one of those companions I've focused on one-handed. I like to have a mix, by the way, talking strategically. For my companions, I find, especially if they're in a group, like if they're slugging it out like an infantry unit, it's really nice to have a mix of shock troops and units with shields, right? If you have some of both, then the units with shields tend to protect, tend to grab a lot of attention from the enemy, and then of course your units with two-handed are the ones that are doing the major DPS, right? Your damage per second is from a heavy margin from those two-handed guys. So I'm trying to figure out a way to get our archers a good line of sight. I've sort of put them on those stairs and told them to spread out, and hopefully more of those guys will be able to shoot down from that position. Meanwhile, we just have a bloody scrum here still for the possession of this side of the battle. And looking up at the power bar, this does not look good. We gotta make some improvements here, or start fighting better or something, because the enemy is pretty resolute here. Yeah, her two-handed skill's too slow. That's not really going to be useful. Their archers are shooting at least as many arrows as us, so right now this looks like a failed strategy in this keep. I either got reinforcements or a bunch of units just came in. We're going to fly in here. We're going to help these guys push a hole as fast and as best as we can, because if we can get a line of shield wall up there with archers on the wall, archers on the ladders, or archers on these stairwells, then we got a good chance here. Got to get these guys up there in shield wall. I got to start distracting the enemy. And we have to turn the tide of this battle. This battle is definitely going badly. I mean, obviously when the leader of the army gets killed in the first 30 seconds, and then his second in command gets dropped with a neck shot, we're definitely trying to overcome obstacles in this battle. Now our archers are set up, though. Look at the fucking raining in arrows. I can attack these guys hand to hand, and they can't counterattack because they're getting hammered with so many arrows. 1, 2, that's like, I was going to say that's like 1, 2, 3. I was going to count them. Yeah, right. There's about 40 or 50 archers now set up, and they have a nice line of protection here, right? We have infantry that's engaged in this scrum. Fortunately, there's no friendly fire, so we can just wade in here without any worries about being shot to death. The enemy has a huge amount of troops still, though, so we're not home yet by any means. The enemy's pursuing us, and of course we're attacking here with very low-level troops. So I can get one unit in the square and one unit in the shield wall to try to flank the enemy here, but we also got to move our archers up in better position. That looks like more enemy forces are attacking our archers there. We'll drag an infantry division because I want to flank the enemy archers here. I called my units to come attack or come help me, and it's like 5 guys, 5 militia. All right, you and I, guys. We're gonna have to weave through some arrow shots here. Guys are trying to shoot us at fucking 8 feet away. We're gonna have to wade in here. It's woman power in this episode here. Okay, units are starting to rout. This battle's starting to turn. They're still trying to get shots on me. I see these guys fucking... Fuck you. Let's wade in here. She's very capable with her one-handed sword. It's a big old fucking saber-looking like thing. It's kind of slow to swing, but it does major damage. And just like Zuvan, she just cut a fucking path through the enemy. Yeah, get the fuck out of here. It's kind of nice to have a shield. Fucking beheaded that guy. Now I'm getting cornered. Fuck. Yeah, I got myself cornered there. All right. So we're on our 3rd character here, and we're out of companions. That's a bad sign. This guy's got a nice deep voice. We will assume a nice deep voice for the rest of this episode. But this guy is not going to have much melee ability. Now, how come they didn't go through the front gate? Well... Okay, that explains it. The gate is not down. How come my guys aren't opening this fucking thing? Of course, I should have tried to open this as well. We should have had units storming through the gate. This is not going to work. I'm looking up. Like, all of that pounding did, like, 10%. I'm hoping these guys hear me knocking on the other side. Open the fucking door, fellas. Evidently, they don't pay much attention to this guy. He's like a horseman or something like that. Some low-level unit. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to fly over the battlefield at this stage. I just looked up at the power bar. This battle is over. So we are just going to just going to do this little blimp mode here. There's no tactics left at this stage. The guys are just systematically killing the last handful of defenders. Now they're opening the door. Thanks. But this city is ours right now. We've added Rotai to our list. So our predetermined victory challenge, if you want to call it that, the status we need. Yeah, we suffered a lot of losses. 114 death. This is tragic. And Laetha the Wanderer died. And Yasna. Wow. So this was a very costly, successful siege here. But we add Rotai to the mix. So we have Rotai now. We've taken Amitatis. We have Saneopa. And it's on to the next objective, right? We're probably going to try to race back and defend either Varagos Castle and or Saneopa. God, these guys may not take the keep here. It's very close. Just barely took the keep. Of course, I wasn't allowed to join that because we don't have any companions. I think if you don't have a companion, you're not even allowed to you know, you don't get any cards, right? You're not dealt into the game. Kind of strange. Still, even though it was costly, right, this is part of our objective, right? So the winning objective that we've decided, where we will call ourselves an actual peasant nation recognized by these other provinces, other kingdoms, is to hold, at the same time, 5 castles and 5 cities. We can add these handful of mercenaries here. I don't care about your story. Just get a sword, grab a shield. You're part of the army now, dude. And he's a scholar, so he's probably got good medicine skill or good engineering skill. Neither of those we really need. But we'll take anybody with a sword here who is not a pompous noble fuck with a history of disrespecting or persecuting peasants. I'm going to leave a small garrison here. I don't know if it's a bug or not, if you guys are experiencing, but when I take a city, not a castle, but a city, there's already a militia there. There's like a 200-person militia in some of the cities that we just take. I had not experienced that before until recently, and we're just gonna role play that part too. If it is a bug, here's what we're gonna say: this militia, once we raised wages, once we showed them all the hot chicks that are flocking to our army because we win every battle, they want to be part of the union here. They want to be part of our peasant empire, and so we immediately had this, 200 and something militia just join immediately. Now I want to dump some food. Let's see what kind of food they have. Oh, they got a decent amount of grain and shit. We'll take their cows out of here, but they've got a decent amount of resources. Like, they shouldn't be starving as long as they're not immediately under siege. Now, if they get under siege, right, the food will start to crater quickly. But I think this city's in about as good a shape as it's gonna be able to get into for the moment, right? Obviously, going back and trying to defend 2 other locations, I can't leave 400 troops here. Because we'd be running back to the other fights with like 100 troops, and that's just not going to work. All right, so we have a sizable force here of 430 guys, but we'll be healing up. We'll probably be at almost 600, and we got to try to get back to Varagos Castle here in Saneopa. Saneopa is the greater concern. Varagos Castle is, I want to say it's bait, it's sacrificial, and based on the number of defenders that are inside there, that's probably going to fall. That's strange. The number just went up. It went from 63 to 67. But Saneopa, it looks like it'll hold on, and we should be able to get back there to defend. So we're just going to recruit some troops here along the way, gather a little bit of food, because no doubt the people at Saneopa are going to be starving. You'll see me pretty much hitting every village we can here. Yeah, so they're fucking raiding our villages left and right. Settlement in Eosa. Varagos Castle just fell, so we lost that to the Western Empire. The problem with that is now there's probably a force between us and Saneopa, right? There's probably 1,000 or something defenders between them and us. That's just one more headache we have to deal with. And of course, they're raiding our villages over here. This scum Imperials, they just have absolutely no morals, no concern. Northern Empire. So wait a minute. So there's a Northern Empire force traveling to Amitatis to besiege. That's okay. So they're coming down here. These fucks, you scum Northern Empire, attacking Amitatis. That means there's a force at Saneopa, a force here. And what's this shit? Track 2600. This just happened. My scout evidently just picked this up. That means there's a huge force that I just must have barely not seen that marched down towards Amitatis. So we have Northern Empire here with of course it's a stacked army. Palatine Guards, 40 elite Manablitons. We got a bunch of guys in rags. All of our companions are injured. We got brigands and recruit foresters. What are my companions? We've got a decent amount of tier 4 units, but man, we've got an awful lot of militia here to challenge a force twice our size. It's all closing in on us now, too. We have Imperial recruits. Sure, what could go wrong? We're not about to give up Sinope here. If we don't go this way, if we don't fight this battle, Sinope will fall. Fuck you, Northern Empire, right? To quote Walter Sobchak from The Big Lebowski, fuck you. Yeah, do I have anything to say? Yeah, you're about to die. Here we go, 700 against 1400. Seems insane, might be insane. Yeah, the Western Empire has a large force here in Varagos Castle. So we are surrounded. There's obviously a huge force that headed south. But we have to fight here. We're not going to give up. Rebels here, just like in real life, they would get cornered. Now this, let's see. It doesn't look like much, but this is actually a great tactical opportunity here. My trained eye of 1,000 battles, I can detect these little things in the landscape. There's a bit of a peekaboo ridge here. We'll be able to sort of limit their archer fire on us, while we can absolutely light them up as they come over the ridge. Now we've got a good amount of shock troops here in the 3rd Division, so let's do a shield and shock on the left flank. Heavy cav towards the front, and it's not very heavy cav, right? We don't have any elite heavy cav. It's kind of brigands and whatnot, guys with wooden shields. We'll put the shock troops behind them to charge if the cavalry gets in there, and that'll protect those shock troops. Meanwhile, over here, let's put the crossbow. That way they can square with those 2 other infantry divisions, and archers up on the hillside here. That way, if the enemy comes down and attacks that infantry and that crossbow division, those units can all square while we pound the enemy with ammunition and arrows and whatnot from up here. I've got the 7th is just horse archers. I'll probably just have them follow me. It's inconsequential here. And then I've got the 8th Corps as well. Whoops, I started the 8th Corps down the hill here. So we're going to have those guys scramble up the hill. The 8th Corps ordinarily in my campaign is an elite unit, but we don't have any elite units, right? We have a handful of companions that are injured. All of them, like me, are wearing watered down equipment intentionally to continue to sort of support our rebellious empire here, if you can call it an empire, our little rebellion. We don't have any tier 5 or 6 troops in our entire army, and here we are fighting a force of Northern Empire with twice our number, with like 150 plus tier 5 units. Now they have horse archers, so I'm changing the configuration of my archers here. I've moved the crossbow up the hill and the archers down the hill, and that's because crossbow typically circle here. We want to protect them. I also have my cav here in a square or in a circle now, protecting our 3rd Division. Because they have horse archers, I needed to shift on the fly here, right? So the cav is now protecting that 3rd Division. The archers can still unload some arrows here. We're going to do a little bit of work, on the margin here. But we're now protecting that 3rd Division with a circle, because these horse archers are very likely to circle us, right? We want to have that 3rd Division, those shock troops with no shields, protected by the cav. I'm also going to be able to square that crossbow division. That's the other reason I brought them up the hill. Because the horse archers always come counterclockwise, the crossbow division now can square up here and protect themselves against all these horse archers. I'm going to knock some of these insolent fuck nobles onto the ground, knock them into the ditch, and we're going to see if we can't fight off these horse archers first. It looks like their main force is sort of skirmishing at the margin there instead of charging. Let's square the 4th. That's good for us, right? They're effectively jousting with our archers there, but we have shield walls facing them. We're going to be able to do okay there. Right, that peekaboo ridge is preventing the bulk of their archers from getting over that ridge. I just opened up our archers because these crossbowmen moved away a little bit. They're not crossbow, because their horse archers moved away just a touch. I'm doing my best to narrate, but obviously it's very difficult to command 8 units, advanced tactics, and narrate in a coherent fashion. I'll do my best. The horse archers are now charging through. That's fine, though, because most of our units are protected, right? And they are taking withering fire from our archers here. Yeah, take that, noble. Melchea takes the mace. All right, let's open up the 4th, and let's start to flank this enemy force. This enemy force is in a defensive stance. I like to say this is defeat formation, just like the NFL. Instead of victory formation, they are offering themselves up here to the god of Odin, right? To the god of war. These guys are just begging to be killed. What is it, Joe Pesci? These guys are just begging to be made an example of. right? We're gonna butcher these guys. They've got a heavy cav line here, but we're ready for them, right? Our second corps here of cav with these shock troops behind them. If any cav charge this, they will be decimated, right? They will be slowed down on all that heavy cav, and they will be annihilated by our shock troops. All right, let's continue to flank here. Their enemy situation is just static, so I'm going to put the 4th and the 8th Corps up here atop this ridge, shooting down on the enemy. Our skirmishers can advance. Our archers in the 5th Corps can advance. You can see they're really pinning the enemy down there. Let's take this horse out. Their heavy cav keeps on, like, kind of charging back and forth. If they're a threat to our crossbowmen here, we've got them in a square. They're really not going to be able to penetrate that side. This is very much like a chess match, right? We're moving in. Each defensive move we make has an offensive concept behind it. And very shortly here, we're going to engage and destroy this enemy force. All right, so Archer's still doing good work. Again, the 2nd and the 3rd group are paired. All these shock troops are basically going to be hanging out this whole battle with that 2nd Cav division. Talked about the... Oh, here comes their infantry. All right, we're going to back up the 1st infantry into a shield. Skirmishers behind him. The 4th crossbowmen up here will be part of the attack. We'll have them flank hard on the enemy's right flank. Cav can lead the way for our shock troops, and we're going to maul their vanguard here. They're coming in hot. The 3rd Corps is going to be behind me here, and we're going to swallow up this infantry line here. The cav here is shielding us from their archers. The 3rd Corps gets sent in to attack. The 4th crossbowmen get sent to attack. The skirmishers get sent to attack, and we're going to wade in here. All these protected shock troops can now go to work. I can swing my laser fast hammer in here, and we're going to truck this fucking vanguard. Yeah, you guys are having second thoughts now, aren't you? Look at they're starting to backpedal. My hammer's really short. I need the longer one to work on the guys on horse. A little bit slower, but a little bit more effective. We can take these guys out that are standing pompously above us, these fucking nobles. They've got archers right there at the margin kind of hitting us with arrows, but it's not too bad. Let's push up in their face with shield walls. Calves can lead the way. They look like they're reforming. Yeah, they probably got reinforcements. So we'll send a very temporary cav charge in here. I'm not going to be charging over this ridge because of this advantage that we have here, right? The enemy attacked us. They have to come to us. We're going to reset here shortly and make the enemy continue to come over this ridge. But any of their retreating troops here, I want to lay a licking on them before they can get back to their other mates. All right, so this is the ridge I want to maintain. We're even closer to the ridge now, so it's going to be even harder for their troops to shoot us. We're going to reset our formations. I'm not going to be able to explain and articulate every single thing I just did there, but it's more or less the same, right? 4th and 8th on the left corps holding that. Those are crossbowmen, infantry divisions, and shield wall. Yeah, the enemy's full-on pulled back here, except for their cav, which is kind of getting butchered. It seems like they're trying to skirmish with their heavy cav, and it's not going well for them. I still have some horse archers left, but that was a devastating assault there that we just gave them. All right, so cav 1st and 6th and shield wall. Our crossbow division's still in pretty good shape. Our skirmishers still look like they have a few javelins. Man, that's why I love like lake rat. Those lake rat boys. They come with I think 10 javelins. That's hugely invaluable in a fight like this. These guys here can be attacked directly by cav in the 3rd Corps. Their cav keeps on kind of coming close. Very bad decision. We have the rest of their units really kind of trapped. If they come over this ridge, they're going to get hit with withering archer fire. And if they don't, of course, at some point, we're gonna take the advantage, right? They're kind of trapped. It's a chess parlance. It's sort of checkmate, right? Whatever they do here, we basically have a nasty answer for them. I don't even know how I would deal with this if I was fighting on the other side. It's a bad situation for the enemy. So here they just charged with cav. Very bad decision. Our shock troops are told to charge, and all these furious two-handed weapon motherfuckers are now attacking slowed down, sort of trapped and slowed down cavalry. It's a very bad situation for them. You can see them running up here with their axes. There's another line of heavy cav waiting in here. But look at this. They can't charge this. I mean, this guy here is fucking dead. I just knocked him from his horse. Kill him, boys. The shock troops are going to obliterate that cataphract. Good night. All right, let's retrieve these guys. They get a little overzealous. That's probably the only thing they don't like about my command, is that I have, we have a lot of discipline in our ranks here. We're not just going to fly recklessly with our shock division. All right, you can see a lot of their archers can't even shoot us. We're absorbing a lot of their arrows here with this heavy cav division. Their horse archers keep coming over this ridge and getting obliterated because my archers have nothing else to shoot at, right? They're like, oh, sweet, targets finally. And the enemy is totally bound up again in this formation. We're going to be able to destroy this. All right, let's start flanking again like I did before with the crossbow in the 8th Division. There's some ranged units in there. We're going to push forward with this 2nd cav, right? This shock and shield tactic. So the heavy cav, if you can call it that, right? Tier 3 and tier 4 horses maybe. They're going to lead the way for the 3rd Corps, our shock troops. We're going to move our infantry closer to the enemy here, and then we're going to charge with the archers, right? We're going to basically swallow up this force. The military parlance for this would be basically turning the enemy's right flank, but in this case, we're just going to envelop them. It's going to be more than just a flank turning, right? These shock troops here, we can start to manually control them, and then I'm going to drag the 2nd and 3rd, this heavy cav division, right into the enemy's right flank. All these vulnerable archers here are about to have a very bad day. Here comes the cav. Right behind them, coming downhill, are all those shock troops. Our infantry just hit their line. I'm going to join them here on foot again. This seems like a perfect opportunity to just wade in on their archers, slam them with our fast, longer mace here, and really they're trying to reform, and they've got shock troops barreling down the hill on them. This calls for just a berserker charge here. Their archers are totally trapped. We're just going to fly in recklessly here. The screen is almost entirely green. They're reforming right in the face of this charge. This is a massacre. We want full pressure here. This is a situation where, well, Zuvan is dropped. All right, we'll continue taking on here. We got a new character, Charge. This is a perfect situation for F1, F3. People kind of jokingly suggest that's the best tactic. Now that we have them on the run, now that we've devastated 3 of their ranks, including their vanguard, now we want to F1, F3. It's perfectly legitimate here. I will position archers just on this ridge. They don't need to charge. But the rest of our troops, because the enemy's reforming here, I don't want them to get a chance to start to reform their lines, to get their archers in a good position. I want this cav in here just causing fucking chaos, and we're just going to continue waiting in here. I've got this brand new companion. He barely even has armor on. Well, and that was sort of predictable result. All right, so here's another one of our companions. He's one of the few guys left who actually has armor. In we charge. This is an F1, F3 situation, full press, and charge in just recklessly. At the Battle of Friedland, Napoleon was in a similar situation like this, where the enemy was in a really bad spot, and he told one of his corps leaders, I think it was Marshal Lamb, charge, full head of steam. No matter what the damage is, don't go left or right, go straight ahead, pour into this thick mass. And the idea is basically that the enemy's in a bad spot. We want to initiate and continue combat here so that we can annihilate this force. These archers are starting to set up. We want our infantry wading in here and really just wasting these guys before they have a good chance to counter us. Our units are steamrolling pretty much everything in sight. We're going to suffer some losses. Look how many enemy forces there are. But this is a situation here where we just want to charge recklessly. This guy's a one-handed cavalryman. It's not the most optimal for doing damage, but he has a high rate of survivability, right? He's got a shield, and he's very capable of killing guys with his falcons. The enemy is full-on reforming / routing. I mean, this has been an absolute steamroller battle. And this is precisely what we needed, right? Because it looks like we have at least 2 more fights, maybe even 3. Whatever that force of 2,600 troops that was pouring down from Sanaiopa, it looks like it was heading to Amitatis. That's going to be our next objective, right? It's just a continual onslaught. Look at this noble gal. You ain't making it away. Eucor, cut down. You know, in our campaign, you know, again, if this is your first episode, straight out beheaded that dude. If this is your first episode, our Peasants campaign We have some rules that we're obeying here. We're simulating a peasant revolt where we're not allowed to have any tier 5 or 6 units. In fact, most of our nobles have taken off their chain armor and plate armor, with the exception of this guy. He's in a party, so I can't remove his armor. But everybody else is wearing rags because we want to sort of mix in. We want to fit right in with these peasants as they try to take out the tyrannical lords of Calradia. We don't have any tier 5 or 6 units, right? That's why you see guys with fucking bear caps and you know, weak looking units all over the place, and we are essentially trying to take on the whole map, right, with this band of peasants, right? These guys have had enough of tyrannical despots, enough of oppressive taxes, and they want vengeance, and we are getting it. So this force of twice as many Northern Empire we decimated. Maybe we lost 200. We didn't even lose 200 troops. I mean, this is shocking even to me how effective. I'm surprised myself sometimes. Even this is an incredible example of how tactics can overcome the difficulty. Look, we put 1,300 into the ditch and lost 173 troops. Only 41 dead. That is an exceptional result given the circumstances. Looks like some of their retreating forces here will have to auto-resolve this. I might even have to come back and... I don't do this very often, but I may make a side episode of this battle. This battle was such a textbook example of how important tactics are here. I think this is a perfect example to sort of share with folks who are still a little cynical that tactics are essential. Now, of course, all you guys following the channel at this stage, you guys love tactics. That's why you're here. But there's still, I think, a lot of Bannerlord players that literally think F1, F3 is fine, and anything else is just icing on the cake. Well, hopefully this example, I think we'll try to come back and auto-resolve this battle. I know the answer already. It's going to be a loss, right? We know the answer empirically. But, God, this force here, whatever this is, it's a huge force of somebody heading down to Amitatis. But the next objective here is Saneopa, right? We have to protect Saneopa first. They're already under siege. Amitatis is not, at least. So we have a little bit of time. And, of course, we have this Western Empire force in the way as well. So it's gotten difficult. It's gotten extremely difficult. But that's how it's always been for peasant revolts throughout the history of the world. So Saneopa's next. Another classic battle here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you guys are enjoying the series, let me know what you think. Please comment and like and all that kind of good stuff. It's good for the channel. It's good to bring more people here to this strategic side of Bannerlord. And I will see you friends next time.